Okay, good morning. So I think it's week 3 now of homeschooling for myself and the guys here. And we're joined on our latest COVID coffee with Brad Rollo, who's the CEO and co-founder of GoFor. Good morning, Brad. How are you on this fine Monday morning?
I'm good. I'm good, Oliver. I'm enjoying a sunny morning so far. A busy morning, kicking everything off. We thought we'd have a bit of a lull into January, but it's firing on all cylinders right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And as usual, my partner, Lindsay, has got a nice little coffee in hand, courtesy of Timmy's. How you doing?
Morning. Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. So why don't we kick it off, Brad, and go back to the roots of it all for GoFor. Tell us a little bit more about the company and what your initial mission was when you founded GoFor.
Yes, so this GoFor goes back to me solving my biggest pain point as an owner operator of a construction company. So I have a kind of unique background where I have a mixture of technology and construction. Technology is something I did at a university with GIS and then eventually into different startups, being a product manager, that sort of thing. Construction was something I did between jobs or in summer jobs. So circa 2003, 2004, kind of got that entrepreneurial bug, having worked through the dot-com days. I worked for a couple other startups after that and decided to start my own thing. I was great at kind of defining product and understanding product where it fits. But, when it came to technology, I wasn't a coder, right? So I couldn't get out there and get my hands dirty and build a product. So I decided to start something different, completely different. That was a construction company. I ran that for about 10 years in Ottawa. And the genesis of GoFor was just me solving my biggest pain point as the owner operator of a construction company is how do I keep my job sites working, right? How do I keep product moving to the job site in a quick and efficient manner? You kind of start dealing with the problem. You're looking at it internally, right? You start as the owner operator, driving yourself. That's why it's called GoFor, right? I was a GoFor. I was running around getting all the materials, that sort of thing.
Cool name.
And I quickly realized how much time I was spending in my business, not on my business. Then we kind of look at the next option. You're like, I'm going to send an employee. And you start to do the math on it. If you're really conscious about your metrics, you start to see how much you're spending. And we realized we were spending about $150 every time somebody went. And that was lost productivity, time, salaries, and stuff like that. And we really weren't getting anything better. We were actually still forgetting product. We weren't servicing our job sites nearly quick enough. So then you kind of get to the third way of doing it, and then that's push it off to the suppliers, right? Your retailers. And most of them have their own fleets. Those fleets come with, if a home hardware is running 4 trucks, they're doing 32 deliveries a day or so. After 32 deliveries, they're pushing that delivery, anything over that to the next day, right? So it's potential lost revenue. So we came in kind of helped them fill their different gaps, right? Overcapacity. They also don't do urgent deliveries very well. They're very, very structured deliveries. They're usually bigger. They're not smaller. So there's an opportunity there. And then the fact that, trucks break down or drivers don't show up to work. So there's a bunch of gaps that we could come in and really find a way to fill it without costing that retailer or that supplier any money up front, right? We're a pay as you use kind of service. Use us, you pay for us. If you don't, there's no bill, obviously.
Yeah.
So that kind of led into the genesis of GoFor.
So gone are the days. So you're solving that time period when I get the phone call from the retailers to say, hey, can you be home between the hours of 4 and 10 on a Saturday? GoFor is there to kind of solve that problem and kind of allow the consumer just to have a more direct and more efficient, delivery system, right? Yeah,
you get more, transparency in the delivery. You get better, predictability in the delivery with us, right? So we can kind of shorten that window. We have the technology to keep you informed, so you can time when you're at home appropriately, that sort of thing. But our very first pain point was solving more the business side than the consumer side part, right? Is knowing that a contractor had to keep a job site running, and how does he get the product there as quick and efficient as possible, was really the original genesis of GoFor. So we came out of the gates in January 2017, and really focus on that problem, right? Let's work with suppliers to solve their business customers' needs. And then from there we grew and we started seeing real traction, got more and more suppliers on board, right? Build up that brand reputation, built some great partnerships. One of the biggest keys kind of to date is with the Home Depot Canada. That Home Depot Canada was a great partnership. It leveraged our integrations, our technology capabilities very, very well. And it introduced us to a great partner to the consumer side of the business, right? Where you, the homeowner, now want something delivered as well. And then we obviously cut our teeth on working with the pros, where you learn customer service, how to deliver big and bulky and do it very, very well. And then translate that into providing that expertise to customers like the Home Depot and translating that to very happy consumer-based customers.
Right. And it's hard to imagine the pandemic hit almost a year ago now. A lot of the interviews that Oliver and I do and speaking to our clients, they all tell a story about how they quickly had to pivot and find a way to, keep business going and making money. But hearing your description of GoFor, I'm imagining that you guys probably didn't miss a beat, or did your business may have actually taken off a little bit with the pandemic?
Yeah, we were one of the really lucky ones, right? We had the right solution that was going to solve the need of what the pandemic delivered, right? Brought to us. And we had to actually rolled out with some big partners nationally across Canada, right? Home Depot, but some others as well. And so when that at the end of February, we had 100 and some odd Home Depot locations covered and a whole bunch of massive geography across Canada, just in time to suddenly go into lockdown across the country and force everybody to go to curbside delivery or curbside pickup, right? So we just we had some uncertain days, right? That black swan effect that everybody's talking about, what was going to happen. We did go through some hiccups where we were concerned about cash burn and all that, and did some layoffs. But we quickly realized, in middle of March, that we were actually going to profit, come out of this very, very well, right? We were going to see growth. We were seeing the consumer side drive the business, even though the pro side had slowed down. And so we were lucky enough to kind of go through some exponential growth this year. I think at the end of the day, you'll see we've grown 1,100% this year from our February revenues to our December revenues. So very significant. Yeah. In fact, we continue to accelerate that growth towards the end of the year as well. So we didn't just make it during pandemic; it came out towards December as well. And 2021 looks to be fantastic for us.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Awesome. So I believe that Invest Ottawa had a small part to play in this. So tell us a little bit more about your time in the pre-accelerator program with those folks. How did your experiences with the professionals there kind of help you, basically, I guess, drive or kind of strive for this growth that it's huge.
Yeah, so Invest Ottawa has been absolutely fundamental in helping us get to where we are. They've been great partners on this. What I loved about it is, that energy you brought when you bring a bunch of startups in together, in a cohort, and that energy you can feed off from the other startups, stuff you can learn from, other people's experiences, and so you don't make the same mistakes, right? So you can head off the, hopefully the bad decisions. So that has been great. The programs that Nick Quain and Michael Tremblay have built out for Invest Ottawa are incredible. Been great support. So we love tapping into all the different mentorships, what do they call it? ERIs, Entrepreneur in Residence, EIR, sorry. It's been a while.
That's a tongue twister on a Monday, yeah.
Yeah, it's been on a Monday. They've been great. Ottawa's lucky, right? We've got world-class entrepreneurs in the city, right? People who've been through some pretty amazing experiences. So Invest Ottawa allows you to tap into that. And then they also go into this, just a smaller little things that startups need, like an email suite. You can get MailChimp at discounts and stuff like that are also big helps to startups early.
Mm-hmm. And then next for you is Scale Up, right? I think you're part of that program now.
We are now graduated into Scale Up, and I'd say probably doing very well.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
That's a good lead into our next point and question was about the recent announcement about the funding. Congratulations again. And I guess Oliver and I are curious, what's that environment like right now for companies, growing companies seeking funding? Is it tough, or is there an abundance of people looking to help, or what, just in general, what was that like, Brad?
Yeah, Definitely say there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of investment opportunities out there for sure. I would say, I have a good picture what that investment looks like, the investment world looks like. I am a little bit lucky because I happen to be in the logistics or contact, construction technology last year. Now we're probably more kind of a logistics-based company. So we're also in the hottest segment of investment, right? So with everybody moving to solving their delivery problems, created a great awareness on the logistics side, which is bringing in huge dollars. And you're seeing that every week, from our announcement, but some other big announcements. You're starting to see SPACs, logistics SPACs coming out. So we were in the right place in the right time, for the storm, right, to see the money coming in. So so I'm jaded. I had it lucky, right? We had it very, very easy. We were able to raise over with existing lead that we knew very well, and be able to do all this over virtual, which not necessarily the norm. It's forcing everybody to shift.
That's great. So that money, which I think is one of the largest funding rounds we've seen in quite some time here in Ottawa, that's given you a platform now. I think you've just announced a partnership with an electric vehicle company in California. So tell us a little bit more about that relationship on the back of the funding round. I think it's with Royal. Is it Royal EV? Is that what they're called?
Royale EV, yeah.
Royale EV. Sorry.
So we're a company that really wants to do its part when it comes to climate change and finding ways to do delivery better, right? Delivery better means for the planet and our customers, right? But also for our drivers. Green vehicles solve a lot of that problem for us, right? Green vehicles obviously mean cleaner climate, right? Better source of energy to run the vehicles. But it also brings, what's really important to us, it brings a lower cost of ownership for our drivers. Electric vehicles, especially electrified vocational vehicles that we're talking with, so existing Sprinter van chassis or a box truck chassis converted over to electrical, have a low cost of operations, right? So therefore, by running it that way, less issues with servicing, maintenance, all that sort of thing, costs to operate, we're putting more money in the pocket of our drivers, right? And that's the big key. At the end of the day, our mantra is that how do we make the delivery experience an 11 out of 10? And to do that, you have to absolutely have the most professional drivers around, right? People who are paid well, who are rewarded for doing a great job. And when they get that, therefore they deliver a smile, and that delivery experience is the best. And so we do everything and kind of thinking in that world. So the EV was just a natural extension to find a way to bring, lower cost vehicles or operating vehicles to our drivers so they can keep more money in their pockets.
That's a fantastic partnership. I love the fact that you're able to embrace that technology. So that's great, Brad. Kudos to you guys.
Thanks.
So you have drivers on the road, obviously, but you must have a significant, or maybe not significant, but you've got some admin and office roles going on. What's Oliver and I, being in the office leasing world, we have to ask, what's the work from home experience been for you guys, and do you think it will forever change due to the pandemic, and once vaccine rolls out and we're able to go back to work?
Yeah, we've had a great experience with it so far. I think we're one of the few companies anywhere that we did with Invest Ottawa, which is another great thing they do, is help us measure our ENPS. Right, we did our first one. We were high ranked in the 60s and 70s. Then we did one in the middle of COVID, actually towards the end of the first lockdown, the first 3 months of COVID, and actually our ENPS went up to 82. We were actually one of the few companies in Ottawa, if not the only company in Ottawa, had an ENPS grow. And I think it's good because our HR team and our management team really, really led the charge well on the work from home, and found ways to make sure that everybody who's working from home is still engaged in some kind of an office atmosphere or culture, even though it's pretty hard to do. So far it's been great. What I've also loved about it is that it's allowed us to open up our hiring process, right? We've been able to bring on several executives that we normally wouldn't have if we stuck in that, hey, I have to be in an office every day, right? They have to come from Ottawa, or I have to get them to live in Ottawa, right? We're now able to actually work remotely. We have a great VP, Nicole Cheffy, out of Vancouver, our VP of marketing, who's running a great job out there. We wouldn't have been able to bring her in if we didn't have a work from home mentality right now. So it's been great there. I do think, though, the future is a hybrid, and a very probably employee-specific hybrid going forward, right? My view is that the office does provide incredible benefits too, right? There's synergies you find when you talk with somebody. You have a 5-minute meeting, you solve a problem instead of taking an hour on a Zoom call, right? There's a lot there that happens. So I think going forward, we'll always have a certain amount that will be dedicated to being in the office, right? My view is that Mondays, Tuesdays, everybody who should be in the office should be in the office those 2 days. The rest of the week, you now have the opportunity to work from home, right? Or choose the office, because some people are going to want office 5 days a week. Some days are wanting 0. Some are going to want it half the time. And so you have to create that flexibility. But I think having everybody in the office at certain 2 days allows for those little synergies to take place. Obviously just permitting what happens with COVID and the vaccine, if we ever get to that kind of level of normality again, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach, Brad, and fairly, fairly consistent with what Oliver and I are starting to talk to our clients about, is that the office definitely plays a role. Not the same for everybody, but there will be a return. Footprints will be smaller on average. We don't know how much smaller yet, but I don't think it's going to change that drastically, because, as you said, those meeting spaces and those collaboration areas are still very, very important. So we'll see. It's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I do worry about too much work from home, too much remote. You tend to find people sitting in more meetings, right? You see duplicates of meetings. You see something that should have been 5 minutes turning into an hour Zoom call. So that you've got to be very conscious on people measuring that and monitoring how much time they're spending on calls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. No, I'm certainly finding that I'm getting fatigued more earlier in the day from all these Zoom calls and team calls and all that stuff. It really kind of drains you. But I'm looking forward to the return to work, however it may be, hybrid model or flex model. So fast forward post vaccine, then, I guess for the balance of 2021. What are your goals, or what are your aspirations for the company? And what do you think? What do you think the outlook for the sector is for the balance of 21 leading into 2022?
Yeah, so 2020, the first little bit before COVID, we were very much last mile delivery of construction materials. Then COVID hit. COVID kind of got us to look at the world different, make some adjustments. Our view coming out of COVID, and we've been pivoting on this since the spring, is to become more of a logistics player, right? So we're going past just construction delivery. We're moving into other retail verticals, right? So Hudson's Bay Company is a good partner of ours. A bunch of other more mainstream retailers you tend to see are starting to come on board. So we're making those pivots that make us a leader in last mile logistics, right? So we've gone also, kind of our focus was always on that last mile, right? I do 2-hour on-demand delivery, I do same-day delivery. We then brought in what we call consolidated or dedicated delivery, where we load a truck with 100 packages and go deliver. And that kind of takes care of that delivery profile. But then you have to have more to be a logistics player, right? So we're moving into cross-docking. And cross-docking is where a large shipment can come to a warehouse in Ottawa, then be broken up, resorted, and set out for proper last mile delivery, right? So you're not sending a transport truck around to a bunch of different retail locations in Ottawa. You're unloading and moving goods properly. It allows us to play better in direct to consumer product facing products, retailers, that sort of thing. So we're expanding that logistics scope to hopefully eventually cover the full spectrum from first mile right down to last mile and all that long haul in between, working with partners. So that's kind of our focus for our adjustment in 2020, and that's our focus going forward for 2021, is to become one of the biggest and the fastest growing logistics players in North America.
Well, I think that's a great way to end this COVID coffee. I love the innovation. I love the energy and the passion for GoFor, Brad. We can only wish you all the very best, and we love to see that 1,100% get even higher this year, and you guys shoot for the stars. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate your enthusiasm to kind of join us today on this COVID coffee. And we wish you all the best. Stay safe and be healthy. And we look forward to catching up with you very soon. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Oliver. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks for the great questions and the time.
Thanks, Brad.
Take care, Brad. All the best.
Take care. We hang up.